Good evening, Fernando Luis.
Good evening. Hello. How's it going?
Good, Fernando. How are you doing with your work?
No, we're at home.
You're at
We are
home?
not. Yeah, we are. I have to rest at home
Okay,
with my
and
kids. My son is 7 years old, and today didn't have school, so there's no school.
okay, and you
So
have like when do you start your classes, virtual classes, or how is the place where you're working for planning to deal
Good evening.
with the classes?
I'm not taking classes. I'm not. What do you mean? I'm not working as a teacher right now.
Okay,
I'm working as an actor.
okay,
So we are. I was shooting a movie next month, but this is a Spanish movie. The people couldn't come. They were coming from Spain, but now they have to wait.
sure.
It's a
Oh,
Spanish movie, and I was shooting a series, a TV serial for Caracol Television or Caracol
uh-huh,
TV on
uh-huh.
May, but it's canceled. It's canceled till June. So, so now we rest at home and wait
I see.
how everything is going. But everyone is like me. I mean, everyone is at home.
Fernando, you have contact with people in Spain, like frequently? Like you have news about that? Uh,
Yeah,
about
sure. I listen to the radio. My parents live there, and so on. Yeah, they reached almost 10,000 infected people today.
10,000?
10,000. They were expecting to reach that number during the week, but they reached that number today. So it's very contagious, this virus, and they got 10,000 people infected and like 400 deaths. So it's pretty serious, this matter.
More than in Italy? I heard that in Italy were 2,000 deaths.
2,000 deaths already. Oh my God. No, in Spain they are at home. Anyone can leave home just for buying food or going to work if they have to work,
Uh-huh.
and going to buy food, buy the bread, go to the pharmacy or the bank, just a few things. But they have said today that things are going worse. So I'm afraid anyone can go out home. They are closing the frontiers, like how do you say, terrestres, the frontiers with France and Portugal.
Borders? Uh-huh.
Yeah, the borders, right? The terrestrial borders, and of course all the planes coming from the outside, from other countries.
Oh, okay.
But things are pretty dramatic in Spain.
Yeah,
They
I've
they are
heard that.
following Italy with that matter, so it's quite serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you doing?
Fine, fine. Teacher Christian, I know he told me he wrote you a message. He
Yeah.
has his baby boy sick, so he won't be able to attend, but whatever you need, I'll pass him by anything that we talked today.
Okay, thank you, Andres. Yes, he sent me a message and I replied it. So hopefully his song gets better.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So thanks for joining the encounter on time. We will discuss what you read last week, and which is we will continue talking about neuroeducation, neuroscience, and the information that science uh, give us about how to teach, in our case, English. So, if you remember, last week's readings were about myths concerning the way people learn and information about the way children learn. So, I would like you guys like mention some of the myths that you remember or some of the key ideas about teaching children.
Well, the most important thing that it said was that in young learners, in young kids, the brain is developing and they need like a good conceptual base on which they can build on, um, to their later abstract, um, the later abstract like constructs. So it says that smaller kids should be able to they are going to receive that information from experience, and so they should have classes in which they are able to interact with their environment, touch, feel, build those concepts from experience, because at that age that is going to be very important, and that is going to give them like a base to when later knowledge and what they're going to learn later is going to be more abstract. But the stronger the concrete learning is, uh, the better prepared they'll be for when they have to build other type of learning, or build on that concrete learning. So it says that they should be able, we should give them the opportunity, smaller kids, to be very interactive. So that's to interact with their environment. Sorry, that's one thing. And the other thing that it says is that curiosity leads to memory, because basically what it says is that curiosity is that natural um, desire to learn, and that pleasure that brings learning and finding out new things. And so in our cases that we should in our classes, in our cases language, but in any class we should foster that curiosity and learn, and let students be able to have new things, and to yes, to be curious about whatever is it that we're presenting, because in as we promote that curiosity within our classes, it's going to be more pleasurable for them to learn. Whereas if our classes are boring or monotonous, or they or just um, don't trigger that curiosity, well, it's going to be tougher for them to learn. So basically, that's like two main things I got.
Very good, Andres. Any of you remember the first stage for learning, like what neuroscience told us about the first part of the brain that gets the information, that receives the information, that is like the first door that we need to open. Like this is connected with the idea of promoting curiosity and pleasure, and exposing the students or children to experiences, because that part of the brain is that is related to this is in charge of getting the first information that the
Was
student
that the hippocampus? I think.
before
I
the
don't remember.
hippocampus,
Limbic system.
the limbic system, right?
Yeah.
So last time we talked about the limbic system or emotional system is in charge of getting the first information. If we if if the person thinks is interesting, is important, so the information goes to the hippocampus, right? At first, it goes to that part of the brain that gets the emotional, that has the emotional connections with the brain. And then, if it is classified as something useful, interesting, and that the person likes, it moves to the hippocampus. Okay, and what about the amygdala? Why? What is the connection of the amygdala with emotions, according to neuroscientists?
Teacher, good
Yes.
evening.
Hello, Lina.
Hello, teacher, good evening. Teacher, I understood that in the amygdala, there are the neural circuits.
Exactly.
So so if for example the children are infringed by the parents, or because the child doesn't have a mother or a father to serve as an umbrella to resist that kind of things, it can affect the neural circuits of the amygdala, and the amygdala has an important role in the memory process too.
Very good. In the memory process and in people's actions regarding if the person is violent, or if it's, or I mean, the person's reactions towards towards different situations. So if the child is affected by, as you mentioned, by any important situation in which emotions are connected, or emotions are related, it seems that, or the neuroscientists have detected that amygdala suffers some changes, and those changes are also related to the production of a hormone, which is the cortisol, and regulates,
Mm.
that hormone regulates people's reactions. So the person can be violent because of changes that the brain has due to situations that the person has gone through regarding emotions. So that affects learning, as you mentioned, because that is one part of the brain where the information gets or goes through for being memorized and later learned.
Okay, teacher.
And you know how, well, I don't know if it's that common nowadays, but I remember when I was little, let's say 30 something years ago, it was common to have children get their amygdalas taken because of this illness,
This is
amygdalitis.
no, this that's different. This is a
Sí,
part of the
sí.
brain.
Oh, it's true. I am so sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. It's
Don't
been a
worry.
hectic day. And I
Teacher,
don't know how I am sitting here in front of the computer. That is totally true. Please excuse me.
Don't worry. Well,
teacher. In other words, I think that amygdala, I think that maybe it has the capacity to feel different emotion.
it's not the amygdala that has the capacity, but it's a part of the brain that changes because of the emotions that the person
You can,
experience.
yes, you can feel the emotion of the other person. For example, the fear of the other person or something like that.
Yes. So if you feel fear, if you feel attacked, if you feel if you are punished when you are a child, that part of the brain gets affected, has makes some,
Mhm.
and it starts producing a hormone that regulates how violent the person is, uh, or how stressed the person is.
Okay, for example, if a dog, the street dog is going to bite you in the street, and maybe you feel something, you are afraid of the dog, and your heart start like beating hard. The amygdala is the organ in your brain that's made that happen.
That regulates, yes, your emotions. So
Okay.
it can produce a lot of cortisol, so you get very stressed, or it regulates the cortisol, so you behave not in a, let's say, extreme, uh, so you don't have an extreme reaction towards different situations
Okay.
like the one that you described.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good. Here we have Maria Fernanda. It was fun, but it's okay. Okay, guys. The readings were also about myths, and also mentioned some ideas on what we can do in our classes to promote curiosity and pleasure. So there are some tips in the readings. Do you guys remember any of the tips or any of the myths about the brain?
Teacher, for example, good evening.
Hello, Paola.
Hello. Okay, I remember, for example, to start a class with something interesting for the teacher. For example, a picture, or for example, a phrase, something like that, then the student try to interest for the class. And the other, for example, present a daily problem that lead to awaken the student at the beginning of the class. Something that is interesting for the student, some problem in their really life.
Exactly.
I don't remember more. Yes, also, for example, is to create for example, the class or the method you use to do the class and to create more interesting for the students. See, the class, the picture or something that the atmosphere that the students be interested.
Good, Paola. Thank you. Okay, who else remembers the other tips that the
Ye-
reading mentioned?
Good evening, teacher.
Hello, Luis.
I remember that curiosity is the base of pleasure, and curiosity is part of the human nature. It leads to discover new different things, and it is possible to anticipate situations due to the curiosity. And if we use some strategies to encourage boys to use curiosity, they can develop their abilities and they can resolve many problems and many things different than we usually do in class. So they can lose their shyness and they can enjoy their life if they apply curiosity in their lives.
Exactly. Okay, thank you, Luis. So, what other strategies can we use in class to provoke students' curiosity and to help them feel pleasure when learning?
It said also, I don't know if somebody mentioned, I wasn't able to listen very well, but it also says that you should make them feel like a little uncomfortable, like introduce things that are contradictory or that you yourself contradict each other, or make things that make them feel surprised or even uncomfortable in a certain way. But of course, without going to the next tip said, of course, without going to the extreme of making them feel anxious with what you're introducing.
Very good. So we need to learn or to know our students so that we challenge them, but they don't feel stressed or anxious, but they just feel a little bit challenged, right? And as you mentioned, we cause like we show them something that surprises them or that gives them several options to think about the solution of a problem, for example. Good. Which other tip did the book mention?
I
I
think,
remember.
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Fernando. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking about that, encouraging kids to let them choose a topic like let them open the debate or open the class, like letting them set in the topic, the matter they will discuss about.
Yes, yes, right.
So you encourage mm, their curiosity or their, I how do you say, you encourage them. I mean, they open the class so they feel like strong, they feel like self-confident. That was the word I was looking for. Sorry.
Yes, so you help them to become self-confident and to
Exactly.
participate actively.
Exactly. That's the point. Exactly right.
Okay. Any
Mhm.
other idea?
In addition to what has been said in general, because I think it's pretty much covered. But one of the things is that, um, well, yes, obviously, let the kids or the students in general lead the discussion, let it be open for debate. But there must also be some kind of guidance and or moderation. Precisely so there, for example, if you're talking about something controversial, the anxiety levels don't get like out of hand, and um, like basically allow them to do their own debate, but guide their discussion to make sure that they're all like within like inappropriate, I don't know, like vocabulary, and to make sure their effective filters are getting increased and things like that.
Okay, good. Um,
Now,
this is other
I
thing,
was
right?
I
It,
was thinking about something that today that all the schools in Colombia are closed till never knows. Isn't it like this virtual learning a new like a new window for them, like a key for curiosity to get a new tools for learning? Could be a new experience for them. Could be like an example to encourage them to get in a new like a new way of learning.
yeah, I would say that's gonna make all of us start thinking about the ways to solve the problem. So
Hmm.
we problem to solve, and from that, I guess it will emerge different creative ideas on how to overcome the situation.
Right, and for the students, for kids, will be like a new way of learning, so they might feel curious about it. It could be interesting.
Yeah,
This new moment that we are living in the world about concerning that curiosity, concerning that you know all of that.
yes, I agree.
Okay.
Any other idea?
Yes, teacher, the read mentions that we have to stimulate conversations and we have to stimulate problem solving, but we don't have to give the answers to the kids. Well, they explore and they will answer better if we leave that they act by themselves.
Exactly. So don't give students all the answers. Good. Here I think we have other, which is promote a relaxing atmosphere. Also, so students don't feel afraid of asking any question, and also praise them. Praise students so they feel comfortable. And the last one is to have students, well, have them ask questions if they have. Good. So now let's move to the myths that were mentioned in the reading.
I would like to share about Mozart, the Mozart effect.
Good.
It
So
caused
tell
me
us about that.
curiosity. Yes, because it talks about that when the fact when for looking for relaxing places and listening to some symphonic pieces,
Yeah.
and yes, in a stage of silence, and it suppose it was a way to increase the learning capacity of the children. But after many studies at the university, they proved that it wasn't just a myth, you know. So Mozart effect was discarded, was ruled out of the things that we believed before, and I was one of those people that believe about that. So, but now I can understand that it's only a myth.
Uh-huh. So that, okay, good. Did any of you play any musical instrument?
Excuse me, teacher.
That
I do.
you know, musical instrument do you play?
I play the drums and I sing.
Mm.
Okay, and when you play the drums, what actions do you have to do? Like besides moving the parts of your body, like the arms and your legs, what else do you do when you play music, when you play the
Mm,
drums?
well, I guess I coordinate all my movements and somehow emotionally I connect as well
Uh-huh,
because
you
it's just
connect
not just,
emotionally. Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I don't know what else.
Okay, anybody else plays an instrument?
Teacher, I play the guitar and I sing too.
And you sing. Okay, good,
Yes.
good. And what other actions do you do while you play the guitar besides singing?
Could you please repeat me the question, teacher?
Okay, what else do you have to do when you play the guitar besides singing and playing the guitar? What else do you need in order to play the guitar, or what else does your body do in order to play the
Okay.
guitar?
Hmm. Uh, um, for singing and for playing the guitar, I should do a warming.
Uh-huh.
A warming. I know that word is good for that expression, como calentamiento.
Yes.
Because look, when you sing, the voice is an instrument too, but it's an instrument that is on the body, is on, how do you say, is into is into myself. So I have to do some exercise to relax my body. I have to do some exercise to try to put my voice in the right place to, and I have to do some exercise of breath, the respiración. It is very important. And for the guitar, for play the guitar, I should warming my fingers,
Uh-huh.
my fingers. I should
Yes.
that is, yeah, and something like this. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Lina.
Mhm.
Good. You see on the screen, all the red parts are the ones that are related to parts of the brain that get active when we play music. So when we play music, we listen, we move different parts of the body. So, for example, we can tap our feet, or we can hum. If we read the music that we are playing, so we need, I mean, our eyes are also uh, working at that moment. And as Felipe mentioned, the emotional part of the brain also gets active because emotions are there also involved. And when you're trying to remember the order of the notes that you need to play, so the hippocampus also is working there. So as you see, 5 different parts of the brain are working when we play an instrument. And those 5 parts of the brain are also related to other abilities that are not only like for playing music, but for memorization, for here we have for social behavior, decision making, cognitive abilities. So those parts of the brain are also in charge of other skills. So when we play music, we develop those parts, and that's why people not only get a people that play music is not only good at playing an instrument, but it also have uh, better skills or develop the skills to make decisions, to learn, to socialize, and among others, right?
Teacher, it's only when you play an instrument,
Yes.
or for example, if you play chess, for example, you can develop it something similar or different.
No, it's because when you play an instrument, you have
Hmm.
to read, you have to listen, you have to move your body, you have to
Okay.
memorize the information or the music that you're going to play. That's why all those parts are developed.
Okay, so we can give some advice to the children, for example, play an instrument that is going to be good for you memory and for you in the future.
Exactly, for the development of different parts of the brain.
With the
I,
brain, yes.
I've just shared with you a video that explains in detail a short experiment to a musician. So that musician goes into a brain scanner, and the scientist asks the musician to play a song, sorry, and sing, and then create a new song. And they, with the brain scanner, they are able to identify the parts of the brain that get active. That is one of the experiments to get to this conclusion. So, as Luis Felipe mentioned, the uh, the myth is that if you listen to music, classical music, you get smarter. So that is wrong. If you play an instrument, you develop more parts of the brain, but not only because you listen, but you need to play the instrument. Good. Any other myth that you remember about the brain?
I liked a lot the one that talked about uh, limiting kids to be kinesthetic or visual or auditory,
Exactly.
because I think it's very interesting how some of us, or some of us not, in general, teachers want or are constantly trying to label kids in what way of learning. And what it said is that basically, yes, kids could have a way of learning that is preferable, but in general there's no support to saying that a kid will only learn in one way, like only kinesthetic, only auditory, only visual. So there shouldn't be a division. And also with the one that you just put there that is very related is the one of the brain hemispheres, and saying that um, one would learn only or predominantly by only one part of the brain, and so you should focus on teaching the skills that go with that part of the brain. um, Saying that I don't remember which one of the two is, but one is the one that is more in touch with the arts and with creativity and with that type of thinking, and the other one more with the logical part of the brain. So in both cases is people trying to label kids from very early stages as visual learners or auditory learners or kinesthetic learners or right hemisphere learners or left hemisphere. And what it actually said is that all those special skills that kids develop is a result of the whole brain working together, and some of those skills just develop because in that process of passing information from one side to the other and stimulating kids in different ways, some special skills in certain areas of knowledge start to arise and to develop. So I thought that was very interesting because you do see still people like trying to focus kids in just one thing. And at least my reflection towards that, or the way that I think is, you in class should use a bunch of things, just because every person is going to learn differently, and every stimuli that you present is going to allow kids or students, to learn in different ways and to make some connections in their brains that are eventually going to develop skills.
Okay, very good, Andres. So when we ask a student to play an instrument or to be creative, the person doesn't only use one part of the hemisphere, but the person uses both. So that's why that's a myth. Very good. Okay, any other myth you guys remember,
Yes, teacher.
Lina?
The only 10% of the brain's capacities are used. And this is something that I really thought that it was the reality, but according to the reading, it, our brain is using its potential, and maybe the people or we look for some methods that help us to improve our intelligence or our capacity in a easy way. But the article, the paper says that it is not possible, that it is necessary to work hard. The intellectual work requires to work and to have a discipline, to enhancing one's intellectual capacity. Um, and the most important is that in this moment our brain uses all its resources when it face with a problem or with a something challenging. The brains, we use all our capacities. Is that the article says. And for me it was, I didn't know that. I thought that really I only was using my 10% of my brain. So it is a myth.
Very good. So if we want to have more connections, more synapses, what we need to do is to learn new things. But as you mentioned, we every time we do something, we use the whole capacity of our brains, the whole. But if we want to have more skills, we need to learn more things. So we make more connections. Good. Any other myth?
Teacher, the neuromill between the brain and the computer. And the
Uh-huh.
real say about the frequently in the context of teaching and in the wrong way, the brain is said to work and operate like a computer, giving the wrong concept. But the human brain is a current product, not a final one. The human brain is not a machine. It's very important because now all is the computer, and some student don't thinking about himself. No, only is looking for the computer. And it is an organ whose intimate functioning in relation to how high cognitive function and elaborative. The computer, on the contrary, is a machine. Its component and operation are well known because the man who has built. So this is the other myth about the brain and the computer.
Uh-huh. Good, Paola. So our brains are not computers, they don't store information, and that's it. We have creativity, and that's something computers don't have.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. There are more myths. Do you guys remember?
There was one related to the left brain or right brain that we usually, and I remember growing up listening to it and saying that he's a right brain or a left brain individual, depending on how his skills were developed. Like if he was like an artistic person, then it was the left side of the brain, no, the right side of the brain. And if it was left, then it was like more related to um, rational thinking and that.
Exactly. So that's not true, right? We use
Mhm.
both parts of the brain when we do anything. Okay, do you guys remember the myth about learning two languages at the same time?
Yeah, that it says that supposedly you should learn very well one language before starting to learn the second one. And well, we all know that that is absolutely false, because the younger the kid, the easier it is for them to learn languages. And when kids start learning languages from very young ages, for example, if both their parents speak different languages, or even if they live in a country where the country has one language and each of the parents has a different one, they not only learn them, are able to learn them very well, but are able to differentiate them and understand them differently, and know that each language has their own codes. So it's
The-
not true that you should learn perfectly one language before learning the other.
Andres, did you teach your kids English when they were
My
babies?
son,
Yes.
Mhm.
I actually no. Now the thing is, yes, they told me to do it, but it actually it's basically two reasons why I didn't do it. One was just it felt like work, so it was like all day working and teaching English, and then I don't. And second, it no, I don't know, it didn't feel as natural to me. I don't know, but I did make it a point to have him in a bilingual school, and he's in a bilingual school. And now that he's older, we do speak in English. I mean, not when he was a baby, but now that he's older and he's learning in English, he's very motivated with English, just as his father. So sometimes he gets to the whole house and he speaks in English, and I speak to him in English. And right now we do speak in English a lot in the house, and it does make a difference.
Okay.
I,
Stephen,
I did used to.
okay, Maria Fernanda. So you used to talk to your child in English when he was a
Yes. It was fine, and he like, and that's why like I modeled that also in class, because he would totally understand even when he was like a baby, without even speaking. He would understand whatever I was trying to tell him. Whenever he was 4, it was funny because he would like um complain about it, and he was like, he would tell me in Spanish like, "Mommy, why are you talking to me in English?
I can
She's got three
listen to
kids.
my.
He one, the oldest is can you hear me?
No, your audio
I
like
can
went
I can
crazy.
No, I can.
I can hear you now. So you were telling us
Now,
that
yes.
when he was a baby, he was able to understand everything that you said. Maria, Maria
Could you
Fernanda,
please repeat, Mafe, the
maybe she went offline. I don't know.
Yeah. When my son was like 4 years old, she's writing. I love the sign up. Mafe is writing that. Well, I tell you, when my son was like 3 years old, I was trying to talk to him in English, so he got used to it. But he answered me right away that he lives in Bogota. He's from Colombia, and he speaks only Spanish. No, thank you. I don't want any English at all. Just like that.
Okay.
So I just laughed, and sometimes I say words to him in English, and I try to make him understand that English is important. He studies English, of course, at school, so he knows some words, and he started this year to study French as well. So I try to reinforce him with some words and some homework at home. But I didn't really try to make him learn when he was a baby. I had enough with all the home task and baby work and all that duties when you are a daddy. But
Okay.
No,
that was
my
my
son,
experience.
sorry, my
Andres?
son is the opposite. He's very motivated. Yes, he's very motivated with English. And recently, my sister-in-law got married to an American, so we had like a big, well, the ceremony or whatever, and the family of the guy came, and and he was very happy to be able to communicate and to people understand him, and he's very motivated with English. So he's the one who comes to school to a house and speaks in English, and so we speak in English a lot. But it's more he's the one who brings it in. Well, I just do it.
Okay.
How old is your son, Andres? How old is he?
My son is 8, but he
8.
studies in a
Okay.
school with, well, he's almost 8. He studies in a school which they actually have teachers in the lower grades who are native but who are teachers, not like those schools that they don't have, that they're native but are not teachers. So they speak to them all the time in English. So he actually surprises me sometimes because he's this school year he's developed his English amazingly, and he's actually very good for his age, I think. So he's very motivated. He likes it a lot. He reads a lot in English. He brings books and he sits like by himself in an afternoon to read. So the school has done a very good job motivating him with English, and the fact that he was able to communicate to English speakers and that others in the family that don't know English or that have a low level couldn't, made him even more excited about English. So he started using it more. So I do think that maybe ties in a little bit with what we've been talking about, that curiosity and that pleasure of feeling that he knows and that other people can't and he can, makes him want to learn more. So he comes and he asks me and he asks me words and things in the house. Like he's playing and how do you say whatever? And he just asks. So it's very cool to see him grow in that sense. And I was similar when I was smaller, so I think it's like kind of in the family.
All right, that's a great example of what we were talking about curiosity and about get interested in learning a new language. And with a father like you, awesome, because you like to talk, you like talking. That's great.
Yeah,
Congratulations, congratulations.
I'm a teacher. We talk all the time.
All right.
Okay, so the myth is that the children get confused, right? So it's not true. Uh, if babies are listen to both languages when they are very little, they like spend more time to decide the language that they are going to start talking first, but they understand both, right? What about the amount of information when children are when people are under 4?
Maybe, teacher, you talk about me that it's an speculation that in the first years of when proliferation of neural connections, uh, they want to give a lot of information and continuous information about historical things, maybe images, maybe a lot of vocabulary, uh, thinking that they can absorb better in a better way because they are in the first years of their lives. But in some educational centers, they prove or they promote that kind of ideas, but really they prove then that the true learning today is they require to be like spontaneous and they have to enjoy what they learn. And the sensory aspect is a very important thing that go against the idea that they mentioned that when they receive a lot of information in the first years, they are going to learn better, you know. So it's not true.
exactly.
Is that amount of information what you ask about?
Yes, yes, the amount of information is not because they are children that they will get a lot of information, they will learn it. But as you mentioned, they need to feel motivated to learn, not because they are under four and they are having a lot of synapses, they are going through a lot of synapses during those ages. It doesn't mean that they will learn everything they will be exposed to. But as you mentioned, they will learn if they like it, if they feel pressure, curious, if they feel motivated. Okay. Anybody wants to has any question about the chapters that you read or additional information about the way children learn?
Teacher, no, I just wanted to talk about the children when they're two different language. Certain of case in the United States happen that the American family hire baby sister, the baby sister who only speaks Spanish, but the baby sister speaks to address to the children in English, in Spanish, excuse me, in Spanish, and the children uh, they start to learn Spanish language because the parents they are working and they arrive late at home, and they didn't have any communication with the children. In many cases, it happened in 2 or 3 years. The children speak Spanish more than English. So many American family they say, "Oh no, my children or my child didn't understand when I speak because my child or my son or my daughter learn another foreign language." So they have the advantage and disadvantage. Advantage because the children learn a different language because of the baby sister. Disadvantage because the parents uh, they didn't have a communication, or they don't have a communication with their son or the daughter or so on, the children. That means uh, that a language, you can learn a language only by listening. Yes. The second, that is the first thing that I want to say. Only if a child listen all the time a person in a language, it's easier to understand, to assimilate that language, so they can learn that language because only the repetition. In Colombia, I heard a different case that children can learn English as a baby, as long as you all the time they watch cartoon in English all the time. I mean, 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day, the cartoon. In 1 or 2 years, the children can understand the English language. So there are different methods of learning, but it's work. Okay, teacher?
Okay. Well, Giovanni, you mentioned something that is repetition. So
Yes,
the
repetition.
reading mentions that repetition causes unconscious learning. So if you have experience teaching children under five, they learn with songs and chants in an unconscious way. So they repeat the songs and they are learning vocabulary in
Mhm.
an unconscious way.
Correct.
So by the time they get older, they remember that information because it was fun for them by the time they were children. But it's, as mentioned, as the reading mentions, the basis for a future conscious learning. So that's other
Exactly.
way to teach, besides experiences that we mentioned at the beginning of the encounter that Andres mentioned,
Mhm.
experiences and curiosity and pleasure. Songs are also used for causing unconscious learning. Okay, any other information you guys want to add about the readings? Okay, so we will have one more virtual encounter because the course ends on March 31st. It means that I have to give you grades by the end of next week. Yeah. So by the 26th of March, I have to publish the grades so that you check them, and because I have to publish the final grades before March 31st, right? So I'm working on checking your tasks. I will publish by tomorrow the feedback of task 4, and by the end of the week the feedback of task 5. I don't know if you have any questions.
Teacher,
John,
good evening.
hello.
Yes, teacher. I had tried it. I had tried it to participate, but I had some.
You have some problems with your internet. He's offline, I think. Yes, he's offline.
So we have 2 weeks left to end this course. Is that right?
Yes, yes. The course
Okay.
the course ends by March 31st. I mean, that
Uh-huh.
day is the deadline that I have to publish the
Okay.
final grade in the system. So that means that I have to show you the grades more or less by March the 26th.
Okay. And about the counters, we have one or two left.
The
Two.
counters, one,
Yeah.
because
Just one. Okay. Next week.
yes,
Okay.
because
Okay.
the 30th is too close to
Uh-huh.
the end of the course.
I see. And we have two tasks left to do, right?
Let me check.
Two, I think. Like task
We have to
seven
finish with
and task
7 only.
8. 7 and 8.
Let me
Like
check.
this week's task and next week, I think.
Teacher, I had tried it to participate, but I had some problem with my internet connections.
Yes.
That's the
We don't have time.
coronavirus. That's the coronavirus, man. What's that? What's that? Get your mask on.
Here we must publish the next the 7 task for the
Got
next
covered up.
Sunday.
Got covered up.
But we don't have time for publishing the other task, the eighth
Give me a,
task.
let's check that in the timetable. So we have two more readings. One about bilingualism and neuroeducation, and the other is okay. The other is anxiety and dyslexia, but that is a questionnaire. It's not it's an individual task. It's a questionnaire.
Okay, but there's a rating about that, I suppose.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
okay,
there is a
great.
read, and it says here that okay, so you will have till March 29th. It means that we could have, if it's March 29th, I will have to publish the final grade by the 30th and publish the in the system by the 31st. What I will do is that I will show you the grades that we have before the final questionnaire by the 26th, right? So you check the grades that you have before the last questionnaire. And on March 30th, I will show you the final grade. That will be just the average with the results of the question. Or if you prefer, you will have the deadline for you to take the questionnaire will be March the 26th, that is a Thursday. So you will have the final grades by Friday, March the 27th. What do you guys think about it?
For me, it's okay because I am staying at home. I have nothing to do, just taking care of my kid. But let the others talk about it.
Yes, teacher, for me it's okay, no problem.
It's okay, March
It's okay with
29th?
me too.
It's
Yes,
okay,
teacher.
March 29th?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher,
yes,
that's
it's
Yes,
fine.
okay.
That's okay.
It
Yeah,
means
yeah.
it
That's
means
okay.
that you all
Everything
it
okay.
means that you all are committed to check your final grade by March 30th. And let me know the same day before night if that's okay.
And are you going to? I suppose next week, next Monday, you'll open the self-assessment
Yes.
document or space.
Yes. I will ask you to publish the self-assessment form by the yes during next week.
Okay.
So if you all check your final grade by March 30th, you all have to let me know before March 30th at night if the grades are okay, because I don't have more like time to publish the final grade to the system.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes, teacher,
Okay.
thank you.
If you keep us a
Yes,
five,
teacher, it's
that's okay.
clear.
Could you repeat, Fernando?
No, nothing. I would just kidding. If you give us a good grade, I'm fine. I'm kidding. I'm
I will
kidding.
let you know the other grades by the 26th. That's a promise.
Sure.
Something to happen.
Excellent. Excellent.
Good, guys. So that's all for tonight. Thanks for your participation. Hope
Thank you. Take care,
Okay.
all of you.
you
Thank you,
rest.
teacher.
Take care.
Thank you
Stay at
very much,
home.
Thank you,
teacher.
teacher.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You
Bye bye.
stay safe.
Your knowledge,
Have a good
I
night.
appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Your knowledge.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All of you, thank you, teacher. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Okay.